Hi, this is Kandyce Hughes, and we are actually reporting from Chandler, Arizona, at the Chandler Raku Festival. Great festival. Come on down. It's going on right now from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. tonight, and from 10 in the morning until 6 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to talk to some of the people here at the festival, introduce you to them so you can see what you can do here at the festival. Come join me. Hi.
Hi.
This is Jim Romberg. He is a guest speaker and also an artisan here at the festival. Tell us about the Raku Festival.
Okay, well, it's unusual because there are only, I think, 2 Raku festivals in the United States. So praise to Chandler and the groups that organize it.
Very cool.
It focuses on a particular type of ceramics, Raku, of course, whose origins are from Japan in the 16th century. The interesting thing is that tradition of ceramics has stayed alive till today. It's very vital, very important part of Japanese society, and has also had a huge effect on American ceramics. One of the things about it is that it invites in natural processes like the smoke and the fire more than some of the other ceramic processes. So it's a mixture of the individual, the personality of the individual, and your artistic judgment, but also what happens when it's heated and fired. And then
I actually heard that it had an interesting beginning. Tell us about how it became popular.
Are you talking about in the United States?
In Japan, yes.
In Japan.
Yes.
Well, it was originally there was a revolution, essentially, because previous tea had come from Korea and China and been very important as a medicinal and just a drink. It was expensive, and so only the emperor and other people could afford it. But slowly it became available to the general population. But they would serve this rare item. It was kind of like fine wine in stoneware vessels, which are very hard and dense, and you can't pick it up a hot cup of tea that way without kind of burning your hands. So they would serve them on lacquered plaques, wooden plaques, and then they were sort of like a little stand. And then the emperor at one point wanted to change things around. It's a new administration came in. Hideyoshi in 1520 or something like that. And so he had a person who was a tea master in his court, and so he went out and looked for a different style of ceramics. And so this person found someone who was making some very rough, in those days they called sort of crude vessels, and he adopted that style. It was much more toward humility and much more natural processes, and so it caused quite a revolution. And it also was the beginning of the tea ceremony as we know it today.
That's quite an interesting background, too. And hopefully we're going to have some people from the tea ceremony tomorrow let you find out what that's about. And you can actually be a part of that if you want to come down here. Some amazing things happening. You can be a part of actually making this kind of pottery as well. They have some wonderful bisqueware for you to do. You can paint it and have it fired here. Raku pottery tends to be somewhat expensive, doesn't it?
Not too much more than others. One thing about it is it's done individually. Every piece is unique. There's also, because it's put in the fire in the kiln, heated fairly quickly and then removed, the loss rate or the success rate is probably a little bit less. So the pieces that do come out are valued, I think, a little more. And each one is unique. You'll never do another one exactly the same. So
you're actually doing a demonstration later today, aren't you? What time are you doing that?
Just as soon as it gets dark.
I actually heard it was about 6 o'clock, right? Yeah, 6 to 6:30. And the expert here, come on down. He's going to do a demonstration. Not only are they going to do a demonstration live, and we're going to cover that, by the way, as much as we can on the stage over here. They're going to come over here where they have the firing in let's take a look at this briefly. Pan the camera over here. They actually do them in the trash cans there because it takes the oxygen out of the process, which makes an interesting finish. And we'll talk about that in a second. But they're going to do that tonight when it's dark. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to can that for you and play it tomorrow sometime too during our live broadcast, so you get a chance to see what was happening. You should come see it live though. It's going to be awesome. So be here. Tell us about your pieces over here and what you're making.
Okay. Well, these are, I don't know if you want to look at finished pieces.
Sure. Tell us about that.
Some of the tea bowls. This is very typical, the crackle situation. Also, Raku has a sort of insulating quality. So when you put the tea in there, you can grasp it with both hands, and it's just nicely warm situation. Also, the tea bowls are carved rather than thrown on the wheel, so each one has a very individual kind of feel to it. You can see on the inside some of the glazing. Raku can give a certain patina and a shine to it, which it's kind of like the opalescence inside a seashell.
Very nice. I really like that. This is a very interesting piece, too. That's awesome. How long did that take to make, by the way?
I actually make this on the wheel and square it off, then start to carve it. So it's much like just a sculpture. I mean, it is a sculpture or painting. So depending on how alert I guess I am at the time, but there's probably 4 hours in just the making process. Then it's fired, bisque fired once, and then I come back and start the glazing process. And the glazing is applying the color in different areas, and I do that spraying it or painting it on. So that sometimes I'll get about halfway through and feel like I'm not quite sure where I want to go. So I'll set it aside and work on another one. But it'll take probably 5 or 6 hours to glaze it. And then we go through the firing process that you were talking about.
How long does that take?
The firing goes fairly quickly. This is a little bit thicker piece because of the texture, so this would probably be an hour. And then you pull it out of the kiln, as you mentioned, and put it in the can where the reduction is. And those are the traces that are left. I do a lot of bare clay, and so a lot of the black and white, I want that presence of the smoke. And the nice thing about Raku is the ones that are successful go far beyond my imagination. So it gives me something, nature adds to it. It kind of completes the piece, the natural process, and I like that.
And part of that black is actually created from the lack of oxygen in the trash cans, is that right?
Right. Well, that's actually the carbon, the smoke penetrating into the clay, and you have a short period of time, about 4 or 5 minutes for that to occur, and then it's fixed. It's in the clay, it's there, but it gives a particular kind of effect.
Well, wonderful. We really enjoyed that. I can't wait to see what you have to show us tonight. It's going to be great. We'll be covering that too. Let's take a look over here. I think the person in charge of that is not here, so let's